I think when we talk about the civil war in Lebanon, but the same case is happening in Yemen as well. And with the new communications between Iran and Saudi Arabia, do you think that they're going to facilitate, they're going to somehow cooperate? The case of Yemen, we have three players, let's put it this way. We have two players in the region, the Saudi Arabia and UAE. We have Yemeni people and Ansarullah. And with the new communications between Iran and Saudi Arabia, maybe Qatar, is that going to be easier for Iran to communicate to help the position of Ansarullah in Yemen?
You know, Nima, once someone told me, well, what if the Americans bring in if the Americans are able to create lots of drones and start using drones against Iran, like the drones that Iran has been using today against US assets in Bahrain. And I told that person that, look, the targets that Iran can destroy in the Persian Gulf region are much greater than the targets that US drones can destroy in Iran. And the implications for the United States and the world economy are far greater, right? Let's go to Yemen. The Saudis, if they want to get into conflict with Yemen, they can bomb Yemen and kill more kids, as they did. They starved them, and Yemen today has a powerful missile and drone capability. They can destroy Saudi infrastructure very swiftly. They can bring an end to its exports, oil exports, its petrochemical exports. What can the Saudis do? They can kill kids. Yes, that's even worse. But they cannot do enormous damage to the Yemeni economy, because the Yemeni economy is already devastated. Doesn't have the petrochemical plants and the refineries and the oil production facilities that Saudi Arabia has. So if there is going to be conflict, the loser is the one that has the most to lose. And so obviously the smart thing for the Saudis to do would be to take Yemen seriously. Find a solution.
Yeah. I think, Professor, I don't know if you saw the latest report of the UN on what has happened, in Gaza, in the West Bank. And here is part of that report.
Report carried out by a committee of independent experts says that Israeli troops deliberately shot at Palestinian children during the 2.5-year war in Gaza and carried out genocide and war crimes.
There can be no doubt in anyone who reads today's report that every international legal norm has been violated by the actions of the Israeli authorities towards Palestinian children, and they need to be held accountable.
These are allegations that Israel has long denied, but this report focuses specifically on the treatment of Palestinian children in Gaza. It says that 21,000 Palestinian children died as a direct result of the hostilities. Thousands more were injured, including 10,000 suffering hearing loss, 5,000 with hearing loss so severe they can no longer hear bomb warnings. The report says that Gaza has the highest incidence of child amputations anywhere in the world, some of those amputations being carried out without anesthetic. It says that when Israel bombs large residential areas with powerful munitions, children more often die, 7 times to 1, because of the smaller surface area of their bodies, thinner skin, lighter weight, which means they can be thrown across the room. It is very, very grim reading.
Yeah.
You see.
Yeah, like they couldn't have written this report 2.5 years ago. They couldn't have written this report 2 years ago, 1.5 years ago. Now that there's a genocide going on in Lebanon, the kids in Lebanon, they don't get thrown across the room. They don't lose their limb. I mean, it's just amazing that after the whole world, I mean, I don't think a single person who's viewing your program has learned anything from this report, because they've been following this for 2.5 years, some literally pulling their hairs out, people having difficulty controlling their emotions. You wake up in the morning seeing, slaughter on your social media feed, and going to bed at night seeing the same thing. It's been going on for almost 3 years, and now the United Nations finally puts out. And it was interesting that Reuters and the BBC both put this up, and they use the word genocide. Every time I've been on the BBC, I think, I can't say for sure, but probably every time, because I try to make a point of saying it. Whenever I go on the BBC, I try to make a point of saying genocide in Israel. Whatever the topic is, I try to get to genocide in Israel. I think every time the host of the show on the BBC and Sky News 2 would immediately come out and say, well, that is for the lawyers to say, and there are, that these are claims that are like, they try to defend the Israeli regime. That's all I've ever experienced, as far as I recall. I mean, they don't invite me on mainstream media anymore, very rarely. During the past few years, it gets less and less. Even during this war, very rare, except for Piers Morgan and maybe a couple more others. No one has invited me anymore. It used to be more, but the point is that we all knew this, but the UN wouldn't say it.
Yeah. I think what's important for many people, and for Palestinian people, for Gazans, for the West Bank, is what is the outcome of what is happening geopolitically in the region, because the outcome is much more important for the future, for the people.
Well, I'm
in
sure
Lebanon.
the EU is going to impose massive sanctions on Israel, don't you think? And the United States are going to start imposing huge sanctions on their industry, on tourism. Nothing is going to happen.
Nothing. No
But
sanctions.
what is going to happen?
Nothing.
Yeah, of course, that's a joke. I mean, they are a part of this genocide. They are complicit in every death that we've seen in this region. Every single death they're complicit in. Every single one by one. However, people have woken up. Europeans, North Americans, Africans, Asians, people have woken up. And this is something that is irreversible. Young Jews, I mean, look at the Democratic Party's elections, the primaries in New York, in Jewish neighborhoods. Wipeout for Zionism, Jewish neighborhoods. Why? Because these people have a sense of humanity, a sense of decency. Saying, we're not a part of this. And the Zionists, they're scared. So it's not because of the UN. The UN is pushed to do this because everyone sees what's happening. UN, American officials, the US Vice President sometimes now says things, Trump, others are now speaking out critically, not because they've seen the light and suddenly they're humane. Of course not. It's because the world is changing and they have no option. Now, how far will this go? How fast will this go? That's we'll see. I don't want to be naive, but the changes are enormous. But no thanks to the UN.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Professor Marandi, for being with us today. Great pleasure, as always.
Thank you. It's always a great pleasure.